Hurricane Francine, we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We certainly appreciate your efforts, and we can't even imagine you being here today after doing all that you've done and the countless hours that you spent dealing with storm events. So welcome, and we're glad you're here. I'm Monica Mancuso, as I said, and we'll just go around and introduce, because there are a few new faces in the group, and we're so excited that you chose to spend your morning with us today. Just a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half. I think we can do it. All right, Mayor, we're going to...
Duval Author, Mayor Berwick.
I'm Vera Jetta from Rotary. Leah here from St. Mary's Museum.
Royce Merrill, Rig Museum.
Virgil Allen with the Rig Museum.
Rick Dugas, CPRA.
Mike Ricardo with the Levy District.
Rick Shanahan, Historical Stuff.
Laura Meadows, Senator Alden's office.
Carrie Stansbury, Cajun Coast Tourism.
Jerry Vernon, Central Catholic.
Debbie Torline, St. Mary XL.
Angelina Mercado with Hospital Service District.
Lou Tamparella, City of Morgan City Councilman.
Roger Boating, sign in. Executive Director, AIC. Thank you.
And Catherine Holcomb, St. Mary XL, and
That's just
Thank everybody for making it important. Our agenda today is, as you see, and I think you received a copy of it, we're going to try to just process the hurricane, because we could spend hours talking about it, and that's not the purpose of today. There were a set of questions that we sent out, and that's kind of the part where, we're going to process it. But this is how we're going to proceed. We may proceed quite quickly today, just because we want to get everything in a timely manner, because I know there's other meetings that are taking place today. So it's really thought-provoking, but we're not going to settle a whole lot today. But it is important that we get this information out. We haven't met since May. So this is how we're going to proceed. And as I said, we sent out those questions, just questions that kept popping up, it might have been on Facebook, somebody might have asked you, a friend, just questions. Anybody look at those questions? If you looked at them, like number 8, what is the plan for mosquito abatement after storm events? Number 9, is the water safe to drink? Number 22, how are relief services coordinated? Those are just questions. We don't have answers to them. Those are just questions. As you looked over them, without the last 3, how many of you were asked, or maybe had the question of at least 15 of them?
What?
All right, let me just say it again. Without those last 3 that we're going to focus on today, were there at least 15 of those questions that maybe somebody asked you, or that you might have had that question?
Well, we were bombarded with the question about electricity. When's it going to be up? As far as water goes, we test the water daily. It's tested, make sure that we got good water. So we provide water for Berwick as well as Bayou Vista and Patterson at the time.
So, well, I hear from May, he's probably been asked all 22 questions. And he was the Homeland Security Director before that. So he's right, game on, game on. How about the rest of you? Did anybody ask you those questions?
or did you think about them yourself without being the mayor of Berwick? Because I know you thought about them.
Yeah, so it's just thought-provoking. It's not to answer. We can't answer those today. We're going to focus today on those last 3 because right now, this book has driven everything we've been doing, and it's really about optimum ways to rebuild or maximizing returns on storm protection for the next storm event. How do we get it right? Could be fortifying roofs. It could be energy efficient appliances that actually flow less from the grid in some of the appliances that have to be replaced. They could actually replace them with more energy efficient appliances. Raising a house slab, maybe some of them that flooded really aren't built in the right spot. Maybe it should be elevated. So, we're going to focus a little bit on that. And how does the community use some of these FEMA funds that might be available as a community, not for individual houses, but maybe as a community? How do we maximize community block development?
Communication. I know that everybody posting on Facebook. And those people who are on Facebook know what's happening. But the elderly and some of our black community, as
Brought
Sunshine
out in our
mentioned,
last
there's a
meeting.
lack of communication. And how do we get that out?
And those are the questions we're not gonna answer today, but those are the questions that are relevant. And we didn't wanna just come in here today and say, this is everything that's happened on resilience, because we had a big event that happened. And maybe there might need to be a greater focus on resilience. So hopefully today, as we go through the agenda, we see how we can work together to make sure that we're all getting communications, information. Yes, sir.
I really would like to see one source that everybody can go to, whether you live in Berwick or Morgan City. You know, if you got commodities that have come in and you want to give it to people, you know, we need to have one source. Right now, we got our police department that goes on there, they put things out. Our town of Berwick puts stuff out. Sometimes they're not jiving, you know? And I think we need one source that we give it to, let that source put it out, and if they got questions, then they can call us.
I'm gonna piggyback off what the mayor said, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. But it's gonna take us a little while to get there, because we can't just say, that's the way it's gonna be. We don't have the power, you know, we need collaboration, we need communication. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna hold a few more questions until you see where we're going, because we put these slides together and we're gonna get there. These are the 3 questions we're gonna focus on. We can't answer all of those 22 today. We'd be here today and Saturday and Sunday, and we don't even have all the right people in the room right now. We need some more people. So let's see where we're headed with the meeting today. And I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. We're gonna start with what we've been talking about for a very long time, resilience and resilience lab. And it's important, because look what resilience is. This is what resilience is that we've been talking about for 5 years. I love the fact that we didn't have to define it. Who defined it? State of Louisiana defined it. And it said it shall. It didn't say it will or could. It said it shall be this. We're going to anticipate what's going to happen because we live here. We're going to prepare for it as a community. We're going to respond and we're going to recover. And it's significant. Multi-hazard event, just like what we had, because that's what we've been talking about. And you know, it's nice to say, okay, how's that plan for the Resilience Lab coming? We've said it for 5 years. We haven't really had it exacerbated. I guess that's the new word right now, before. If you go to the state website, this is what's on the state of Louisiana's website for resilience. It takes a storm event. You see that coastal change, that coastal storm? And then look at those middle categories. Those middle categories are exactly what we just experienced. We had infrastructure damage, great social disruption. We couldn't go out of our communities. We were on lockdown, curfews. Economic disruption. We had environmental damage. And then this little event, Hurricane Francine right here, it caused this. And it was just a coastal storm. It could have been coupled with sea tidal surges. It could have been coupled with salinity penetration. It wasn't. But then here's these state agencies, and I'm so glad the Senator's office is here. Thank you, Laura. Laura and I have been on the phone quite a bit this week in preparing for this meeting. So there's all kinds.
Excuse me a minute. Somebody parked kind of screwy Highlander. They're gonna get hit. A Highlander kind of grayish car. It's a YHD 905.
All right, thank you.
You're about to get hit.
Thank you. All right, so this is how the state integrates all the agencies to help us. This is how all the categories could impact us. And we are feeling those shocks and those stresses, and you've been working day and night, our elected officials, to address it. So this is how the community today is looking at it, because 5 years ago, we keep going back to our book. It wasn't us who said it, it was people who came in from outside, and they said Morgan City. They didn't say someplace over there, or up there. They said right here is the perfect place for a resilience lab. Now we know what resilience is defined as. We just lived it. So that's what they said, right here. And it says to field test. You can't field test anywhere but right here. You can model it. You can create a system that kind of looks like it. But wouldn't it be great today to know exactly how many roofs were damaged, what building materials survive, what water looks like when it rains and doesn't rain? And it says, if we had that, we could increase our human capacity and our infrastructure for storm events, because it was just a category 1, 2. It could have been a category 5. I was here for Andrew. Who else was here for Andrew? That thing was something else. And it could be coupled with the Morganza opening, the 30-70% flow. So we didn't have any of that. So right now, the focus, if we focus on resilience, we can get possibly all of those questions answered in a community-minded spirit where we all come together. And we're going to have to, because that water doesn't pay attention to jurisdictional boundaries here. It pays attention to proven practices, and we need the best proven practices. So as we go forward, we were going to be all excited last week before the hurricane hit, because you were here when Mr. LaGrange and Mr. Hannegriff, our previous parish administrator, instead of writing for another boat launch, they put in a resilience lab planning component. They took $129,000 of restored money, and they said, we're going to give you this money to partner with the Water Institute, some experts who've had a rodeo or two before, because they've already written a plan for Florida. They're in the process of one up in Baton Rouge, writing one for the state of Virginia. What if they come and help us write an integrated system, especially as we transition in leadership? You know, I heard the mayor say once, this is my first hurricane as a leader. You might experience it personally, but what about as a leader? How do you feel it? Duval is proven because he's been emergency management director. He put people on buses for Andrew. I remember coordinating that with you with the junior high, and my sister and all did. So he's lived it before when it's a category 5. So right before the hurricane hit, the Water Institute came down. They signed a contract with the parish to spend $129,000 to help plan a resilience lab that does all those things, anticipates that it's going to happen with all the factors that we know we live every day to help us recover and prepare and do all those things. So Scott was here. We were on the Zoom call with the parish. We were on the Zoom call with their engineering firm that they use, Apton, and we had a very good kickoff meeting. And that was back on August 21st. And the plan was always to involve all stakeholders, because, you know, we need the levees talked about, we need drainage talked about, we need how a municipality integrates with the parish. We need all of that talked about and written and clarified. Because we do have, I'm sure, somewhere a plan, and there were meetings in the spring, but we may have to get some expertise, because things possibly with Facebook and all the ways that we get information, we know really right now how people can and cannot get information. So in talking back with Scott again, post Francine, because Francine interrupted the flow, there will be meetings in October and November led by not us, we don't have any expertise, led by Water Institute, engaging the stakeholders in whatever role, whatever lane you're in, so that by our next local interest group, they will have objectives and initial listed actions. And then they'll present them, and they'll also say, well, okay, well, this is what it is, and this might be a little area of where it costs, but you might also consider some alternatives. So they will be doing a plan, a process that they did in Jacksonville, Florida, process that they're going through in state of Virginia, and now they're going to be going through for us.
Is the plan for the Resilience Lab to be that point of contact that all the municipalities would say, hey, this is who you need to send this information to so they can get it out?
It could be, because when they come and present that process, that input would be integral to them, how they write it. So that's why your input is needed, like you say. You might say, well, that's already done. This is where it is. Maybe we need stronger language to make it stick. Or maybe we need to communicate to the public. Maybe we missed that piece. Maybe the plan was worked out in those meetings, but we as a nonprofit, maybe we could do a better job in communicating with stakeholders of the public, because, you know, we're into different pods throughout just our daily lives. We run into people all the time. If we're retired, we can do that. You can't because you're in a job. All right, so that's where we are. So hopefully, Mayor, those questions 1 through 22 will get answered and formalized, and the Water Institute will be leading that discussion. And when entities are called together, please make it important that if you can't see them in person, that you send them something, because that's very good input, and you wouldn't want that left out. Yes, Karen?
I just want to say, Duval, Lake Charles, after, what was the last big, Laura? What they did was exactly what you were talking about. And that's how they were able to recover, is they had one website. Part of it was under the Tourist Commission. That's the only reason I know. But it certainly could be under emergency management. Each mayor, each municipality had a section on it. And it all went on this one, like even the permitting process. Like if you needed a permit, if it was for Berwick, it clicked, it went to Berwick, and it went to every individual it was supposed to go to. And when they had like the Good Samaritan group and the Baptist group, it went on that website, and it went on each municipality and the parish to say where those people were gonna be. So it was a one-stop shop where every mayor, like if you said, I want to say this, and Mayor Dragner wanted to say he wanted to say this, and Mayor Vappy wanted to say this, they each had their own section to say what they wanted to say, and all of those services were on it. And I just wanted to throw that out because you said that, and I had said that before, but that was that transition between David and the new guy.
So those are the kind of things I'm sure the Water Institute will be getting with you, and then also hopefully looking at best practices, because we don't need to reinvent the wheel if it's already there.